Hi, I'm John Finnan from the Limerick Post Show. On the show today, I have Mayor, Councillor Daniel Butler. Thank you for coming on, Daniel. Thank you for coming on.
No problems. Delighted to be here. Delighted to have a chat.
So you've recently been elected Mayor of Limerick City. You've been a councillor for Limerick City for like 7 years since 2014. How long have you pursued to become Mayor?
Well, I think a lot of my life has kind of just happened, and I'm just kind of been carried along by it. When I first got elected in my first election in 2014, the goal was just to get across the line to get a seat, and I was happy to get the seat that I got to get comfortably elected in my first election. So that was kind of a high for then. And then I suppose as you progress through life in any career, you always set new goals, So to be mayor of a city and county after only 7 years, which is a relatively short time in politics for this kind of role, I suppose it's a bit of a surprise. The opportunity presented itself, and I suppose on the day I was kind of even blown away because the fact that I was elected unanimously. So it was the first time that's happened where, I was unopposed in the role. So I really valued the endorsement I got from my colleagues across all the various parties. And here I am now. I'm in a job a week and a half, and still pinching myself. I think even last night I was kind of going, I can't believe I'm mayor.
Yeah. Did you have any objectives when you started out? Did you want to accomplish when you started out your campaign to become mayor?
I suppose my work is kind of based in the Limerick City. I'm a drug worker by trade, and I've been working kind of in around that kind of thing for quite some time now. And I suppose my first and primary priority was the citizen of Limerick, so the individual citizens. A lot of speeches can be about the economic outturn or whatever, that kind of aspect of what a mayor is about. But I really wanted to focus on the individual citizen, that we're all equal, we all have equal voice, and that we should be valued equally. And I wanted to make that citizen very much central to the day. And as we emerge from COVID, the idea of recovery, the idea of connecting and reaching out to each other as individuals as we emerge from COVID, because I think it's only as we emerge we'll start to see the real impacts of it, physically and mentally. So I suppose my focus was the ordinary citizen and recovery, and in particular focus on those living in areas of social deprivation that don't get as many opportunity or supports that they need. And I wanted to try and make their needs a priority throughout the year. And then in light of COVID, I suppose, the environment and sustainability has become front and center during COVID. It was a priority before COVID, but certainly it now has become more central. And I wanted to kind of make that also a central priority for my year, is to try and play my part to advance, the climate change agenda, and make it relatable as well to the ordinary citizen in their homes.
Yeah, absolutely. You spoke about like the ordinary citizen and the path to recovery from not only COVID but the way forward on climate. What would be your first steps on both of those?
Well, I suppose I've already had a meeting with the Limerick Mental Health Association only, I think it was Monday evening, and they presented me with their strategy. So what I've done is I've committed to work with them throughout my year, to first of all help them out with their mental health week, which I've done in my previous capacity as Metropolitan Mayor, and it's my work anyway. So I know a lot of people that are involved in the area. But I've also committed that at least I would do at least one thing every single month for them to support their work in connecting with people and supporting people in recovery, and who are recovering from mental ill health. That's all, maybe some diagnosis, but also to support the general public in some way. So that was only after a week. I've been in the job, week and a half been in the job. So we've already got that up and running, which I'm really excited about. And then as well, I had the pleasure of welcoming the French ambassador the weekend, but also his cultural attaché, Mariam Diallo. And we spoke about using art as a means of expression. So often art is used as a creative therapy. I know even my own work working with young people, art can be a great way of expressing something that you can't verbalize or you don't even understand maybe yourself. You can get it down in a picture or a piece of clay, or you write a song or a rap or whatever it might be, to find that creative expression. So she is committed to work with me on that, and we're looking to develop that concept around, see if we can create some sort of a cultural tool or a project that we can use to connect with communities in Limerick that are most at risk.
Yeah, and like the idea of like people in Limerick like being at risk of from a lot of different circumstances. You put out a statement about the Shannon Group and how that is like important for a lot of not just people from Limerick, but of like the Shannon area, including like Clare and Kerry and all of these different places. How do you see the importance of like stabilizing such a needed influx of income and not just sustainability for not just Limerick, but for so many counties?
Yeah, I suppose, look, a big part of my job right now is we're emerging from COVID, and hopefully that continues to happen. But a big part of my job will be over the next time supporting individuals and businesses and organizations to emerge and to capitalize on hopefully an upturn after COVID. And certainly the Shannon Group that manages Shannon Airport is a hugely and vital cog in all that process, because even when the French ambassador was down the weekend, just referring back to him, one of his key questions was looking at the ports, the airports, the fine sport, accessibility has been a key issue. And so even our global partners see it as a key issue. And we obviously here in the Midwest recognize the importance of Shannon in terms of our foreign direct investment and the accessibility that it offers them to connect with their international sites, the accessibility it offers us to connecting with other markets across Europe and indeed the globe. Something we pride ourselves on in the city is our accessibility. We're on the edge of Europe, but also just out the road, you have American soil and Shannon Airport in passport control. So we really are connected into the world, and we're very aware of our position in the world. And having the airport working and well and connecting into key hubs across Europe is of vital importance. And having strong leadership is what's required right now more than ever. And at the moment, unfortunately, the Shannon Group doesn't have a chairperson. And without leadership, you kind of can lack direction. And we really need to have somebody in place that is ready and capable to be able to hopefully take advantage of an upturn in the aviation market, which has taken a real hit over the period of the 18 months of COVID. So we really need to have somebody in place right now, realistically. So it is a matter of urgency, and one that I wanted to highlight immediately because it has potential to have quite a significant impact on our region.
A fellow compatriot, a fellow worker that has some leadership is one of your other councillors, Councillor Conor Sheehan, who I spoke to a few weeks ago, and about the safe access zones. And how do you and that's obviously a very important topic for him and a lot of people around the country. What would your support on that come to?
Look, I was delighted that for my first meeting, I was able to include that item on the agenda. I was also very encouraged by the cross-party support for the measure. Even people that had voted no in the referendum actually came out and supported it. They publicly expressed that they had voted against the referendum, but they recognised that everyone deserves the dignity and respect to be able to access healthcare without being targeted in a way that's just doesn't defy any level of humanity, to be honest with you, because people are accessing services there for a range of reasons, some of them positive, some of them not so positive. And to have to deal with that kind of rubbish when accessing their healthcare is just totally unacceptable. No matter what way you view it, it defies understanding really, to be honest with you. So
whatever side of the political spectrum you're on.
Yeah, whatever it's like, this is just basic humanity, basic respect, isn't it? So I was delighted to support it. I attended, I think, one of their meetings that they held, and I was glad of the opportunity to listen to what was said and the importance of it, and gave me a good understanding of the need of it. So I was really encouraged to see such a united and understanding and meaningful engagement that all councillors had in relation to that. Indeed, at the end of the meeting, I commended them for their endorsement of it and their honesty and the integrity that they showed. So it was a good day's work, I thought, for the council chamber.
Yeah. And when you were elected, RT News had an article where it stated that you were a fluent Irish speaker.
It's total lies. I spoke quite a bit of Irish on the day because I wanted to highlight the importance of the Irish language, because I suppose in a lot of ways in my speeches it symbolises a lot about Limerick and the Irish culture of resilience. That even in a globalised world, the Irish language is still with us. It's overcome many challenges over the centuries, and it still has survived. And I think the Irish language gives us so much of who we are. Even in the art of storytelling is what I kind of highlighted. That through the stories in Irish, if you tell them in English, you tell them in Irish. In Irish, they take on such a greater life. The Irish language is a great storytelling language. And we use talk about the Shannon Group. And the art of storytelling is important culturally, because when we struggle, sometimes we put it into a story. It's a way of disconnecting from something that's difficult, a way of sharing a life lesson, a way of making people laugh. A means of expression. And with COVID, we kind of lost that, because we were kind of told we were taught to physical distance, we were taught not to stay in contact with people too long. So our interactions were brief. So now I'm hoping as we connect, that the art of storytelling, reconnects and we share our stories, our personal stories, story of our lives, stories of life lessons, stories of silly mistakes, topics. But if you look across a lot of the great leaders of the world, they're all great storytellers. Even Barack Obama in particular, I know, is a particular advocate of the concept of storytelling and the importance of it, because it's what it does. And I think Narrative 4 and Limerick do a lot of good work on this, is the art of storytelling helps to build empathy. And right now, more than anything in this world, we need empathy.
Thank you, Daniel, for coming on.
No problems. Thanks very much for having me, and very best of luck in your work there with the Post, and look forward to hopefully meeting you physically sometime.